Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 37, written by user TheoWay1234. A relaxing day in the woods by a stream. Time to leave. He felt watched though. Then he saw himself peering from the edge of a tree. I've read some great retellings on the sub and thought I'd share my own. In short, I'm a skeptic about pretty much anything supernatural, but there are two events in my life that still give me chills to this day, which I cannot explain. This happened many years ago. I was a teenager hanging out with my brother and friend. We lived in a rural area. We got bored as teenagers do and decided to ride our bikes through a wooded area to check out a nearby stream. Heavy rain had passed through earlier in the day, so we were curious to see if the stream was fast flowing. We got to the stream, nothing too exciting there, and chilled out for a few hours. In the afternoon, we decided to head back. My brother and friend jumped on their bikes and started riding ahead of me. I got onto my bike and had a strange feeling like I was being watched. I scanned the trees surrounding me when suddenly, someone leaned out to the side of a large tree no more than 25 feet away from me. This person had a big grin on their face. Most importantly, this person was me. I was staring at another me, grinning at myself from behind a tree. I was frozen. I wanted to yell, but I was so confused and terrified that no words would come out. I remember the terrible feeling of dread that washed over me. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and the apparition had vanished. I rode hell for leather back home, and I don't think I slept for a week. I went back to the stream a few more times in my youth with my friends, and nothing like this ever happened again. The logical part of my brain wants to say that my eyes were playing tricks on me that day, but the part that remembers what happened, how clear it was, and the feeling of absolute terror and confusion will never let me just push this memory aside. Case notes, file number 37. This reminds me of the Prisoner of Azkaban novel from the Harry Potter series. Speaking of time travel, Hermione says that time travel is dangerous and can cause irreparable brain damage, insanity, if your other past sees your future self. I wonder if something similar to this happened to you. Curious though that you witness your other self grinning. Did this other version of yourself appear older or exactly the same as you? What about the details of, say, clothing? Same thing you were wearing that day? The author of this story responded to my questions, saying, "The other me was the same age as me and wearing exactly the same outfit as I was that day. I remember it clearly, a black hoodie with one green sleeve and one pink sleeve." Continuing my thoughts. This would seem to rule out the time travel, well, I don't even want to call it a theory, just something that popped into my head. It's just very odd, isn't it? Doppelganger indeed. But at least nothing else happened, and you never saw it again, so it didn't have nefarious intent, I don't think. Case file number 38, written by user 8th Immortal, recounting past events in an old house, haunted by something beyond our realm. About 15 years ago, I was living with my ex-girlfriend, my sister, and her husband in an old house not far from town. Within the first few weeks of living there, strange things were happening regularly. Lights going out randomly, noises upstairs. At one point, one of the windows at the back of the house was cut, like someone went at it with a pair of glass cutters, trying to break in, but gave up on it and left. Creepy stuff like that. That was bad enough. But things got pretty severe as time went on. One week in particular was crazy. The first thing that happened that week was on a Tuesday night. Everyone was working. I was home alone watching TV when I noticed our cat was acting weird. Backed into a corner and arched up like it was scared of something. When I went to get up, the electricity went out in the house and it was pitch black inside. The moment that happened, I heard really loud footsteps running down the stairs to me. I got up and braced myself for whatever it was, but there was nothing there. I gathered myself and went outside to the front garden to check if the other house lights were on, but my house was the only one that was dark. I went to the fuse box and reset the trip switch. Everything returned to normal. A few days later, I think it was on a Thursday, we were all in the living room watching a movie with pizza, lights on, good atmosphere in the house, when out of nowhere, a massive bang happens upstairs. We go up to check it out, and I went into our bedroom and saw my bedside table in the middle of the room. The worst and last thing that happened to me was on a Saturday night. I'll never forget this. It still gives me chills when I think about it. We go to bed, everything normal, watching a movie to fall asleep to. I wake up facing the wall and glance at the alarm clock. It reads 3:13. I turn over to go back to sleep and see my ex standing in the middle of the room. Confused, I begin to sit up and ask her what's up. But as I start to sit up, I realize my ex is asleep in the bed next to me. A surge of fear runs through me, and I'm frozen to the spot. My eyes adjust and I barely make out the figure, a young girl in a nightdress with a cartoon character on it, soaking wet, with her head down looking at the floor. I can hear the water drop onto the carpet and I'm just sitting there, freaking shocked. I couldn't believe it. After a couple of seconds, it kinda melts away, like fades out of sight. I got up, turned on the lights, trying to tell myself that this was just a night terror or something, but the problem with that was, there was a goddamn wet patch where she was standing. Moved out shortly after that. Can still picture her to this day though. Goddamn, was it the creepiest thing I've ever experienced. Case notes, file number 38. I've never quite chalked it up to the paranormal, but perhaps I should have. When I was a teenager, I was living in a house, a small one, in the forest. It was nighttime and I was watching TV alone. I heard a massive bang on the door, so loud it sounded like the force of it should have collapsed the entire house. I went to check and there was absolutely no one and nothing outside. Nothing else weird ever happened to me in that place, so I never thought of any sort of presence or spirits or anything like that. I don't know what I thought, I just kinda put it out of my mind. For you though, the last bit is what perplexes me, that your carpet was still wet even after this entity or spirit vanished away. I've never heard of a lingering effect like that. The water on her was real, not just a visual representation. Wow. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and also subscribe on up. I'm always uploading more stories. See you there.